Pepper Pot Diaries is genuinely a piece of my heart that I've shared with the rest of you. It felt quite scary to put it out there because this book means so much to me. It's my past, it's my present, and it's my future. But I say mine, and in fact, I mean all of us really, because I think food takes us into a place where we all want to be. It's where our minds meet, it's where our souls meet, and it helps us root ourselves in the now, but we turn our faces to the sun and look to see what's happening next. The recipes in this book mean so much to me. There's recipes that my grandma taught me, that my mum taught me, that my dad taught me, that my aunties and my uncles taught me. There are recipes that I've completely invented myself. That's what I mean when I say the future, because together, around a table, in a big pot, that's where our happiness lies. The Pepper Pot Diaries is available in all good bookshops. Oh, hey! Welcome to London, Annie. Someone was meant to get out. Lottie talk. We've barbecued you loads of different fish. We've made, I made a chana dahl, like little curry, but I also made a green bean courgette, lovely quick pan curry for you because I wasn't sure about the chickpeas with your keto.
Yeah. But you know what? The specialist said to me that I can start introducing carbs into
a little bit. Well, you know what?
I thought, can't come here and not eat everything.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
Today is a good day to have a carb.
Come to the garden because
And Miquita has made a steeper.
A steeper, we're calling it a verbena steeper. So basically a steeper is, I'm just making these teas because I love making different teas and just pouring them over ice. Yeah. So this is lemon verbena with rosemary, bit of nasturtium, mint, stuff that I grew on my balcony.
And lemon.
Oh, that sounds
and a bit of lemon, lime.
And did you put the ginger syrup?
And a bit of ginger syrup.
And honey.
This is so up your street.
I know.
This?
I'm gassed. This is
this?
me. This is me in the glass.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah,
Oh, that makes me so happy. Let me give you loads of ice.
How did you know?
I don't know. I just felt the day and I felt the energy.
Cheers. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Such a nice way to spend an
Wait,
afternoon.
Mum, this is your verbena steeper.
If we were Dave, that's how So welcome, everybody.
Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome, Annie. So who have you brought?
I have brought
lunch?
my bestie. This is Reju Sharma. We have been friends for over 20 years, I would say. We met working at Radio 1 and ended up moving in together. I would have been 20. Oh, we had our joint 25th birthday.
Oh, so you're the same
we
age?
24.
We're 9 days apart. Yeah.
Oh, sistering.
Yeah.
Proper sistering.
Proper sistering, yeah.
Shall I tell you what I've cooked for the sistering? Some barbecued fish, because you're a pescatarian.
I'm
Annie.
pescatarian, yeah.
And you don't eat beef, and you're keto.
Yeah, I'm keto at the moment, yeah.
Which basically means, well, you have been, but we're going to get a bit carby today, slightly,
I'm
aren't
going
we?
to pull out the carbs though.
Pull out the carbs
I have
today.
to, yeah.
So we've made barbecued fish, 3 different kinds: trevally, mackerel, and snapper. Spice rub, a little bit of brine, and then barbecued quite hard and fast on the grill.
Yeah.
And then finished with a nasturtium oil, which Miquita grew the nasturtiums on balcony. Yes.
On my balcony, which is called Moon Bar, and so this nasturtium is blazing under the full moon.
Wow.
Blessed nasturtium.
So magical nasturtium and a few nasturtium flowers and lovely fresh herbs. Then there is a little pan curry over there with green beans and courgettes and chili and ginger and garlic and a couple of other little spices. There's a chana dahl, chana being chickpeas, which is a chickpea curry. There are sweet potato, caramelised onion and sweet potato roti, a fresh coconut pomegranate herb spring onion lamb's lettuce salad.
With
a little hibiscus.
We are so blessed.
Thank you. No, honestly, thank you so much.
Oh, I'm
It feels
thrilled.
So nice to be cooked for. I cannot tell you.
And it's my favourite thing to do, so we're all on a win, aren't we?
We've just come back from holidays. We went to Sweden. So basically, I taught my husband and my kids how to fish because I did a lot of fishing when I was a kid. My dad was a fisherman.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
love that.
And we spent 2 weeks fishing and didn't catch one fish.
What?
So clearly, I'm a bit out of practice.
like nothing.
Nothing, babe. Nothing.
But But fishing,
Thank you so
I
much,
always think that
Keith.
fishing is not necessarily about catching the fish, it's the time
It's the process.
spent together.
That's
isn't
what I
it?
was trying to tell them. Andy. It's like, you've got to enjoy the calm. You're one with nature.
It's true.
And they're just
though.
like, where's the fish?
Yeah.
Mum?
I was thinking about stories that we're going to be telling about each other, and there's like so many.
Yeah.
And now you've just mentioned fishing.
Oh my God.
There was
Reju's
one
claim to
episode
fame.
in our friendship where she decided that she was presenting on the culture show. She pitched an idea of like women in fishing.
Right.
And they were like, oh, can you bring somebody who would never fish?
Yeah.
And we're going to wake them up at 4 a.m. And I was there at 6 a.m. in the morning in waders.
We learned how to fly fish on BBC
Yeah,
television.
yeah.
You must really
And
love
it
her.
made little fish.
Did you catch something? Okay.
I got a really tiny fish. That was it. We were trying to catch salmon.
There's a
but that was not
photo
gonna happen.
of me
God.
and Reju and these two old fellas, old fishermen, and it is it's gold. Like,
They were really nice. I really liked their company, to be honest.
I do think there's something about these days finding ways to spend that kind of quiet,
Babe.
contemplative
Yeah.
time together. It's really difficult,
you,
actually,
love.
getting that kind of time and space.
It really
Would you
is.
like a bit of roti?
You know what? I'm going to try a little bit, yeah. Can I just say, these flavours are reminding me so much of home.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
beautiful.
like-
Where are your family from, Reggie?
They're Punjabi, so they're from North India.
Right.
I mean, we've always grown up cooking and always been around foodies.
We were very lucky, obviously, to do the series we did around the Caribbean for the BBC, and
love
so
that,
we
by the
had
way.
good, BBC researchers on our ancestry and found out so much. I was wondering if you knew much about yours, Annie.
yeah, I do. My brother's actually mad into family trees,
Yeah.
so he's done both sides now.
How many siblings have you got?
I'm the youngest of 4. It's not that exciting. Like,
No, come on.
my mum's family are from Northern Ireland. They're all. My mum grew up on a farm. It was all very like there was no money. It was very poor, and they grew up on a pig farm, which is why she's a staunch vegetarian.
Right.
And brought us up to be vegetarian. They all had like 11 brothers and sisters. Like
So there's
crazy
a whole
amount.
heap of you.
A lot of us left. So
Yeah.
my grandparents' generation, 60% of them went to England or Canada. Everyone just leaves Ireland.
Yeah.
That's the kind of inevitable path. People just go.
Seeking opportunity.
Why, is that
Yeah.
why? Is that why, do you think?
It's seeking opportunity. It's not being able to afford to, like, there's no work a lot of the time in Ireland. So you leave to send money home.
There's the Indian African diasporic connection, but there's also the Irish come into that,
Yes.
and the Scottish come into that as well, right? And that Irish black people, brown people thing. I remember when I first came to London, I didn't really know loads of Irish people till I kind of got to London, stuff, and I was just remember being amazed at how similar, like how much I understood Irish culture because it's like loud and food and shouty
Very religious
and
based.
hitty.
Radio 1, early noughties. It's kind of like one of the most powerful places in Britain in the media at that time. Like Radio 1 was the place, the voice that people listened to.
What was it
It
like?
was Chris Moyle's era.
Yeah.
He really did have the monopoly on radio, breakfast radio, big characters in the station. And me and Reggie both worked in specialist music, and we worked in a room which was called what?
G12, but they called it
G12.
the dark side.
Because it was just full of weirdos, basically.
Nice.
What
Yeah,
they thought.
Misfits.
Best
And
place.
it was full of amazing weirdos.
Yeah.
Like, it was, John Peel was in there. He would fall asleep under his newspaper every afternoon.
Yeah.
Annie Nightingale was there with the messiest desk in the room. You had the dream team coming in, doing kicky uppies in the corner.
Fabio and Groove Rider.
Giles Peterson. Like,
my
what
God,
an
it's such a-
amazing...
That's a great room.
What an amazing room of people. And me and Reggie just like trying to hold it down, you know? Trying to be cool.
I remember the first time I saw Dream Team, and I was like such a garage head anyway, and I was like, oh my God, it's Mikey B.
I mean, that's
like, just like trying to talk to him and be like all cool at my desk.
Yeah.
Like, this,
And
I don't
also
know,
it
not
was
big
trance, so it was like Judge Jules,
Yeah,
Dave
oh my
Pearce.
God,
You
Judge
used to be
Jules.
into trance, didn't you? So that
I was
like,
a big Judge Jules fan, yeah. That was probably my first moment where I got starstruck at the Christmas party when I met Judge Jules, and I was like, cannot do it.
Those Radio 1 Christmas parties were intense.
Oh my God, babe.
Yeah.
Because I started working at Radio 1 when I was 18 at One Extra,
wow,
and then started doing Radio 1 stuff at 19. And I was so scared, and you, Annie, was so lovely to me.
Oh, thank fuck.
Yeah. So, and you made my life a hell.
She was a right bitch back then. Who you're talking about?
She was so lovely. I was
Oh,
freaked
babe.
out. And also, I wanted to talk about the kind of difference between being a kind of radio presenter and a DJ. And I guess that's why you were in the weird people room, because I think there was there was Sarah Cox, beautiful, brilliant broadcaster. Edith was there.
Yeah.
It was that kind of time. Colin Murray, but Annie felt like the cool girl who knew her shit in the corner, and I was like, who's she? I remember thinking that you stood out, and I wonder if that was intentional for you to make sure that you stood out in that place, in that kind of world of Radio 1.
I mean, not at all. There was no kind of agenda of how to be. I think it was just kind of I was hungry and ambitious, without a doubt, and I really wanted my own show. They came up with the whole idea of my show coming from the perspective of the dance floor. So you had all these dance music experts, Pete Tong doing house, Judge Jules doing trance, Dream Team doing garage, Fabian Groove doing jungle, all of these guys experts in their field and very revered as DJs. And I was coming at it as someone who wasn't a professional DJ and was just a fan. So they were like, why don't we do a show that is dance music, but way more like from a fan perspective? So it's like, instead of her coming from the booth, she's coming from the floor. And so it was always kind of more irreverent and less like authoritarian about what music is good and bad. It was like,
and do you think that
more
was more
celebratory.
female than male?
Yes.
In its intent or in its...
Actually, you could look back on that and think, well, why couldn't I have been an expert? But the clear thing was I didn't have the experience at that time. So I understand where they were coming from. And I did kind of grow into that place that they were at.
Also, I think the reason that Miquita is like found this about you is because having started in the production side at Radio 1, you couldn't really be there have the airs and graces of being like a superstar or now I'm a DJ and whatever. So I always found you carried that through. Like you were still Annie that was like in the office, but you happened to just go on the mic every so. Like,
I was so grateful for those 2 years working behind the scenes because first of all, they taught me how a good radio show should be made.
Definitely.
They taught me what a producer should do. So when I became a DJ, I knew how the team should work. But also, they helped me be grounded and real, and it was
you see,
very
for me,
important.
because I don't really know much about dance music because I'm older. What I've always, from my sort of age perspectives, what I've noticed about you or thought about you is you always just seem to be someone who just loves it. You just love the music. And so it comes from a perspective of inside out rather than ego out.
Yeah.
You know, rather than I'm here, it's more like, oh my God, check out this tune, it's fantastic. Yeah. Which is what I really respond to, that I really like about you. Yeah. And that I think that's what people respond to in you is actually you are sort of resolutely yourself. And I think that's quite a difficult thing to do and thing to maintain. You know what I mean, Reju? It's like, especially in this world, you know, the world of media for women, I think, well, for everybody, but, you know, there's a female issue, I think, for us in this world where, you know, there's always somebody from the outside telling you how to look or how they want you to respond or how they want you to dress. They don't really do that to dudes in the same kind of way. Has that been hard for you to hold on to, Annie?
Well, I think what you end up doing, first of all, it only happened for me. Like, I got the show when I was 26.
Right.
And again, that's another thing I'm so grateful for. So I was able to be like an idiot. You know, I was able to make all my mistakes and do all that. And then at 26, I was a little bit older and wiser and knew more about what I wanted and whatever. I also think that I clung to people like Reju. So when you find people who are real and you know are you know, people you can trust and people who are real, you there's an instinct there to keep them close, you know. So
very important, actually. God,
yeah,
I think. Did you feel that responsibility as part of your friendship?
Poor Reju. It's got a lot of responsibility.
Well, look, I'm the eldest sibling in my family, and I think there's always a level of like you want to protect the people around you. Yeah. And you want to like teach them and help them. So me and Annie lived together. There was only really us two, and we felt like it was just us two kind of against the world. So I think, there's been moments of real talk.
You're so good.
Real talk, Reju.
Real talk, Reju is so important. So Real Talk Reju would say that person is only talking to you because they would think they can, you know, look better beside you or get something off you. Right. And you know, it's never done in any way cruel way. It's always just quite, you know. But it's like I think they're not.
But
just watch it. Just
But also, I think because we both worked in radio and in production, it was also from a creative outlook as well. And like, does this look right, or is this the right thing you want to go to? How is that going to advantage you?
Is this the path you want to take?
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting because my best friend Nana Cherry, when she became massively famous, I remember she'd been away on tour for a while, and she came back. She said something, I went, no. She said, what? I said, no, fuck off, something. And she went, oh my God. And she said, and I said, why are you so emotional? She went, no one said no to me for 4 months because I haven't seen you. Oh my God. Everybody's been going, yes, Nana. I'm like kissing her ass. I was going, right, well.
Can I ask, is it all right to have seconds?
Yes,
have thirds and
No, we probably will get to the fourth.
Nyam the food, that's what it's called.
But I wanted to talk about ambition because I was always really embarrassed to say that I was ambitious. I also didn't think I was because I was so ashamed about it. Obviously, my career kind of fell into my lap in a way, and then I started, working. And the more you work, the more you want, I think, and the more you see, the more you're like, okay,
more opportunities you see,
Yeah, especially when you realise that you're good at something.
Right.
But I felt so embarrassed. Mainly, actually, more this round of my career a few years ago when I was like, I want to work again. I had to say it out loud to myself for like a few weeks before I could even admit it to mum or anyone or the world. And I wonder why we get so embarrassed about ambition, or maybe that is just me.
I think it's a combination between Britishness
Right.
and a lack of being able to self-promote in any way. And we conflate ambition with kind of self-promotion. And I also think it's being female.
There's this thing, women,
I think
we're not meant to want things for ourselves outside of motherhood and marriage and all of those things. Everybody I know, all the women I know have a problem going, I want success.
Yeah,
I want everyone to buy my book. I want everyone to read.
That people conflate that with confidence.
Yeah.
And I think confidence in women is quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I've been asked a lot about that in my life because I did one interview for The Guardian when I was 20-something. It was one of them Q&As, and it was, what are you most proud of? And I answered it quite flippantly, but I just said that I like myself.
Right.
And I swear to God, ever since then,
Stop it.
every interview is like, so... you like
It's
yourself.
not liking yourself.
Tell me about that.
What is that?
You seem very confident.
Wow.
As if that's some sort
It's
of
a
like
bad
Like an
thing.
accusation.
yeah, but it's kind of like, and then you kind of find yourself defending yourself that I am confident, like I'm comfortable in my skin, and I'm very lucky, and blah blah. And you're kind of apologising.
I meant to feel like
Yeah.
this. I'm so
Isn't that
sorry.
awful? But I think ambition is in there somewhere. It's in that web, of wanting things for yourself.
And now that you're, but you said you're a week apart, so
Yes.
you're both in your early 40s.
Yeah.
Has your ambition changed? Does it look different? to
God,
how
I
it
wish
did
it was
20 years
early.
ago?
We're 45 now, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
45.
Yeah,
Did you
we're
go
right mid.
in the middle?
I have to say, my 40s have been my favourite decade.
Everyone
I'm
says
not gonna
it.
lie.
It's the
Like,
best.
and actually, going back to what you were saying, I think it's about being fearless. And I think for the first time in my life, in the last year, now I feel like I can dream big. I mean, global, universal.
Yeah,
big.
keep going.
Like,
I say to Mom, I'm like, let's go big. And then she's like, okay, America. I'm like, oh, not that big. Yeah. She's like, why not?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm 39 and turning 40 next year. And I've been thinking a lot about like, oh, right. So life actually isn't just forever. And if you want to do things, when are you going to get on with them? And that's kind of, I think, what, hey, just...
Well, I feel like what's happened to me, it feels like it's a mindset. So it's a mindset shift. It's created a change in me, which then means it's had a change effect on everything around me. Even just being here today,
Right.
like that is a change. I would have overthought this. I would have completely overthought this coming here. Probably wouldn't have said yes to you about it, all of that. Today is a different day. And that is part of the change of like thinking bigger and dreaming bigger, allowing yourself to dream.
Changing your vibration.
Completely, my frequency is...
My frequency.
Yeah, my
nice
frequency
right now.
on point.
But that stuff really matters. Your
really does.
frequency does
It really
matter. What
does.
you put out in the world,
yeah.
how you vibrate, how
open you are to
Yes, and what
Yeah.
you invite in
Yes.
with the words that you speak and, and what you put out there, how you treat other human beings, how you treat yourself. People take their cue of how to treat you, how you treat yourself.
Right.
If you're sitting around beating yourself up, calling yourself names, having a terrible time, people will
Exactly.
treat you like shit.
Oh, Andy, let me share something. Sorry, I have to share this.
Yeah.
Yeah. My therapist told me this like about 4 months ago. Game changer. She was like, you know why you get discriminated against, or why you feel like you get discriminated against, or you feel you're in this situation, is because you discriminate against yourself. And I went, wait, what do you mean? I don't discriminate against myself. And she went, what you're doing is you've had all of this discrimination baggage forever, and you've never realised it, but you've taken it on. So you see yourself
How they see you.
right? And then that's how you present yourself.
Yeah.
She did that. Next day, she was like, "So for a week, I want you to present yourself the way you think that you are, like you want to be."
speaking to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. Speaking to myself in the mirror.
Telling yourself you could deserve good things.
It's hard.
Just
really hard.
Just
really
even
hard.
look at yourself and saying, you're beautiful. Like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, how do I say that?
Isn't it funny how quickly we go, oh, don't be ridiculous, don't be silly.
Yeah.
It's like, why not?
Yeah, but game changer.
I remember when I first started having therapy years ago, my therapist saying to me, "What do you walk down the road and call yourself names?" And I went, "Oh, how do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you know that? I've never told anybody that." And she said, "Lots of people do that." I was like, "Do they?"
Right.
I thought it was just me, you know. And it was a facet of my eating disorder and some of the problems I was having.
Yeah.
So I would literally, and I didn't really know I was doing it. And she put it into words, and I went, "Oh my God, I do that." And then how do you know that?
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to stop doing that and change the internal tape.
Yeah.
The words that I spoke to myself.
Yeah.
And the way the world changed when that happened was astonishing to me. I couldn't believe it.
It's also really quick, isn't it? I had a lot talking about men being slightly feeling a certain way about women being successful or wanting success. Obviously, I was very successful really young, and all the boys around me would just make jokes about it, make it very small, pretend it wasn't a thing.
So you felt like you had to do the same?
No, so I was like, I'm not even really successful. I'm not on a big
Shut
TV
it down.
show.
Doesn't
I'm not
matter.
doing, and I don't really have a career. Bang, then I didn't. Do you know what I mean? It's like it went because I didn't believe I should have
You
it.
can talk yourself.
Or that it even was a thing.
Talk yourself in and out of anything.
Suddenly I was like,
can't you?
now I have nothing. Well done. I can't believe I managed to do that.
Wow.
Then it was just my thoughts didn't believe that anything was real. So I'm so happy we're having this conversation about what changing your
fascinating.
frequency can actually do.
It's fascinating.
Because it is physics. It's actual physics.
It's the law.
It's the law.
It's law, as Oprah says.
It's law.
That thing you just said, Reg, you really struck a note with me of how hard it is when you look at it. And actually the things that make you cry, like the things that bring a tear to your eye, the things that make you feel like you're 5 years old, telling yourself you're beautiful, that you matter, all of those things.
That
And
inner
I've
child
always
work.
said to people, the most insidious thing about discrimination for me is not the names that people call me or you used to call me when I was a kid at school or all of that stuff. It's that I believed it. And that I held it and and then internalized it and then put that back out. And I think that is the most terrible consequence of discrimination or bigotry or whatever it, for whatever reason that you're having that situation is that you hold it in your spirit and you hold it in your heart, and to divest yourself of that takes work, right?
It does take work, and I was committed to it. I did it, and I saw the change happen.
Is there a process of kind of getting to know yourself all over again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you're kind of meeting a new version. Well, it's always been there, obviously, but it's kind of like getting rid of it must be so much clarity.
I say this to you all the time, but I feel this is the calmest I've ever felt in my life.
Who is this therapist and where is she?
Honestly,
Reggie's got her very busy now.
She's
introduced everyone to these little doors.
No, I hear you.
Honestly,
My
it's
therapist
like
is my best friend.
plagiarism. I just tell everybody her advice.
Oh no, it's beautiful though. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's good to share it.
I do want to say, while we're at this point in this conversation, that, however you two both feel about yourselves and the success and what you've done, please know that when you were both on TV and everything that you've done, and even if it wasn't on TV, even if it was just out and about, you guys have always been inspiring. Like, to see you, I remember Andy seeing you, and I remember meeting you, and I just, to have gone through colorism and see somebody who's dark-skinned and be represented, and a woman, was just, but I feel like it as well, but it gave you hope, options, and it gave you dreams. You know what I mean? And I thought that was so important. And seeing you on E4, remember that, just being like, wow.
Yeah.
It was that.
That
So
is so
thank
nice.
you. But maybe you might hear it more now, or maybe you heard it already. But I wanted to say that because I think it really made
It really
a
means a
difference.
lot. To,
It does make a
really
difference.
means a lot to me because back then. So you guys are 45. You're about to turn 40. I'm 60. I turned 60 this year.
Congratulations.
And it really does just get better all the time, girls. I'm here to tell you.
so excited.
It really does. It's extraordinary. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And I never expected that. I never expected to be 60 going, woo, what is next? And feeling my full height and my batty and feeling good and do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Literally.
I do. Oh my
I'm walking
God.
down the road thinking,
like how
that's right, that's correct. Yes, thank you very much.
But do you think it's because you've let go of some of the stuff that we were talking about?
I've divested myself of so much stuff. I am free now.
Yeah, that's it. That's how I feel.
Freedom.
I am free now. And I think I've learned so much, every year of life, I feel so grateful. And, the older we get, the more people we've lost. I'm sure everyone around this table has lost people that were really important to them. Yeah. And the more you lose people, the more you value life and the moments. It's like every day. What is it Aunt Enid says?
Oh, my God. We went we were in Antigua and we hand-delivered my mum's cookbook to
my auntie.
Mum. She comes out of her door and me and my mum and my cousin Sullivan were walking up the road and she just went, thank God for life. That's what she said. Every morning. And she's 88 on a cane. And she lost her husband this year of 60 years. And she said, thank God for life. And I was like, right.
Oh, I need to keep that.
Oh, it's beautiful. And then she sat with my book, like running her fingers over all of the pictures and the stories and her mother's recipe that's in the book. And I that was like one of the most important moments ever for me to see my auntie, see my mum with my book, I loved writing. You love it, right, Annie?
I do love writing. It kind of felt like coming home, weirdly. I didn't know how it was going to feel to write a book, but I'd always wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And it's a novel, right?
It's a novel,
yeah.
But not, So, but also more than one. Are you're writing?
There's two.
Yeah, there's two. Just about your second.
The second one just came out. So it was the first one was a kind of direct reaction to turning 40 and being like, I want to live, I want to do more. My job is great, but I feel like a little like I'm coasting. I just felt like I wasn't serving the audience I had enough. Like I felt like I should have been out at every gig. I should be trawling the blogs for the best, the new hot thing. Yeah. And I was like kind of in the throes of young motherhood, as in the kids were young, and was kind of just very stressed and didn't feel like I had enough time to give to Radio 1, and also felt like I'd been doing it for 17 years. Oh my God. And maybe it was good to...
Time.
Right.
But it's so
I had an
hard.
urge to learn. Basically, I wanted to learn
and
something.
transition, new.
Thank you.
But how hard is it to leave somewhere like Radio 1?
I didn't find it hard. And I think that's because I was there for so long. And I felt like I'd kind of done everything I wanted to do there. So I kind of gave this line when I was leaving about like leaving the party when it's still happening, like the kind of, and it really, honestly, it really felt like that. Like it was good vibes, and I liked the idea of leaving while I had goodwill, and that was reciprocated.
Well, the party's still good. You don't want to be there at the end with the tizer and the whiskey, do you?
Right, exactly.
You want to go
shit in the corner,
finish a glass of champagne and float through the door. Yeah, I'm with you.
So totally. When I left, I had been like my first book was out, so I'd spent the last couple of years at Radio 1 kind of squirreling time trying to write this novel. I went on a writing course for 6 months, and that helped me.
Was that about structure and how to really craft?
Exactly.
Yes.
I was like the most nerdy, mature student ever. I was like, teacher. Like I loved my teacher so much. It was such a buzz to learn.
What a lovely
new. It was such a buzz. Yeah. And it was just mine.
It was a beautiful thing to feel like
it was such a buzz to learn, and also it felt quite indulgent.
Especially because you had children.
I felt needed. There was a lot of need.
And yes, asking
children.
for stuff. Yeah,
a lot of people, production teams and agents and
asking for stuff.
And the career was so busy, and we kept taking things on that were great, but not really things I'd kind of dreamt of doing. You kind of get swept away. So we started doing. I had this brand called AMP, Annie Macmanus Presents. We started putting on entire conferences in London.
Oh my God, I remember.
Where we the whole of Camden is full of gigs, and we're curating all these gigs and all these talks, and it was a lot. I was doing festivals. It was like, this was my time.
Yeah.
Just for me. And knew.
And feeding another bit of your intellect.
Right, exactly. So Mother, my first book kind of came out of those couple of years. And then I left Radio 1 and gave myself a bit more time to write.
Did you enjoy the process?
Which was actually quite hard, because then I had 5 hours a day to write. And I was like,
totally.
Yeah. I mean, I'd go and make myself a cup of tea.
Totally, you're like, oh, so I just have to do this now.
Yeah.
Totally.
And also forgot that I'd left. Like I'm naturally like completely extrovert and love being around people and love working with people, and I've always done that. And suddenly I just the loneliest job in the world.
Right.
I'm sat in a fucking shed at the end of my garden on my own with just rattling around my own brain. Yeah, I found that really hard.
You settle into it, though, a rhythm.
I did. Well, and I've also kind of learned that I need now to kind of make sure that I have people, and I have, you know, I'm seeing people and I'm going out the house and going for walks and meeting people.
Don't you remember we were talking about this, the beauty of having a life? And I think, I swear to God, it's freelance. It's freelance. It makes you feel like there is nothing you should ever do other than get to the next job or go to work or build something next.
And say yes. Keep saying yes to everything.
You can't justify having an afternoon off.
God, no.
So what are you doing?
Go visit a mate? It's like, what? I should be making sure a new project's starting. And we were talking about that when I saw it at the beginning of the year. We were like, it's nice to just give yourself a life. And now I've got really into like a bike ride on my own for a few hours.
Oh, gorgeous.
It's just like, why not?
You got to Ali Pali, don't you? That's Miquita's like touchstone, Ali Pali. She goes up to the top.
Yes. Do you guys have this? Okay, so Oprah talks about this incredible... They ask her her favourite guest she ever interviewed, and she's like, well, that's quite a lot of people. It's like 35,000 people. And she says it was this incredible woman who went through hell in Nigeria, I think it was, as a child. She was married, abused, raped, and bore 5 or 6 children. But she kept trying to go to school. Long story short, she gets herself to school, and she goes back to this rock in Nigeria to say, I got myself to school. I taught myself to write. It's happening. And then her story evolves and she basically becomes a professor, and she's still, everything she does, every achievement or everything that she said she was going to do, she goes back to the rock. And my rock is Ali Pali. And I don't know why.
She's like, Mom, I'm going to the rock.
I need to go tell Ali Pali that I've done this.
That's amazing.
But I think a touchstone is good, or at least somewhere to go, I did this now. I want to do this now. And to have that conversation with yourself.
It's good, you know, because we're talking about ambition and actually you know, when you are ambitious, and I think we all are around this table. I want things for myself, and I want more. I want the world to be big. I want to inhabit more of it and see more of it,
do things for more
feel
people,
the whole thing while I'm still here and alive. Because it's, you know, it's a brief moment, and then we're dead. You know, you can get so caught up in that you don't take a moment to savour the joy of what you've achieved.
I've had an epiphany about ambition, right? Because you kind of, when you think ambition, you think pencil skirts, heels, working girl, you know, whatever. and like just like you also think up, like working up, next rung on the ladder, harder, bigger, more tickets, more fucking listeners, all that shit. Yeah. But actually, I have become ambitious for something completely different.
Yes.
So it's the idea of still being ambitious, but for being ambitious for what is best for you at that time.
And your
so
heart.
I am ambitious for contentment.
Yes.
And for a sense of wanting to learn. So the kind of stimulation, like my brain to be stimulated, to be learning all the time, but also a kind of overall sense of contentment. And it's like, okay, so how can I work to get that?
It changes what you do.
I have this thing, I call it breathing the good, clean air at the top of the mountain. That feeling every now and again, you know, you do it, you think, you feel your lungs fill up with this sense of possibility and a kind of settling. It's like I can feel it's settling in my bones, do you know what I mean? And it's like a moment of stillness before I move again and move into the next thing that I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean?
So that's your rock,
that's my rock.
And that's why I go to Ali Pali, because it's high up. It is a mountain. It is. And I love that you can see the city. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you see yourself in it then. You feel grounded, you know your place.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I don't have kids, I'm not married. And that's never been like massively important to me. But having to admit to myself now that it's something I want, God, that's been really,
but because you have done that without the rock. I mean, the rock.
I haven't gone to the rock to say.
Oh my God! Okay.
So. Have you not said it at the rock?
So when you stay at the rock, it's indelible.
Then it's real. Do you, Miquita? Do you equate being married and having to? Do you think those two things have to be the same?
No, but I do want both, and I know how you feel about marriage.
I mean, it's all right.
No, how do she feel about it?
What a self.
I'm not against it for other people. I just can't be asked.
Right. So how did you feel, Annie, about getting married recently? You had a beautiful wedding.
I like the wedding. I like the wedding.
I was 100% with Andy. I was not bothered at all about getting married. I had 2 children out of wedlock.
Oh, so you were
I know.
So you're with your partner and still didn't think about that?
No desire to be married. And then I let them have his name. I don't know why we do that. It's annoying.
Don't worry, my mum didn't. I'm an Oliver.
I love that about you.
Fucking did the labour.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, mate.
Exactly. Anyway, so I let him have his name. I didn't take his name. So it's kind of 5 years down the line from having kids. And I was just like, I want to have their name. And I was also 39. And part of me was like, it's kind of fun to get married now. Because we're in it. This is it. I know this is it. I love a party. It was quite like logistical. It was kind of like, am I ever going to be able to have a party? Of course I am. I can justify having a party anytime, as you know.
That's been most of your career.
Yeah. But how can I devise another party? Let's get married and invite everyone we love. So I had 3 weddings.
I know.
You had 3 weddings.
I had one, like little one, in the registry office.
See, that I can respect that.
That was amazing. Then I had a Ibiza wedding.
Yeah, big fatty.
And then I had a big rave in London.
Fatty, 3. So 2 fatties and a small one.
Yeah,
Nice.
2 fatties and a
I
small
like
one.
it. So I mean, if I was going to do it, it would be along those kind
Think
of
of the
lines.
party,
I would say.
Auntie.
I mean, I'll just have the party.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I don't
and you don't
want
have the
that.
legal
Can I
binding.
just say though, okay, can we just
You're
also
right.
add that Annie found a brilliant, wonderful, kind man?
You have
mate,
a lovely
yeah.
husband. I've met
Tom
him.
is the
That's
best.
a guy.
He's really, I met him. Lovely.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
is.
he's
Sweet,
nice.
good, kind, lovely man. I felt.
Yorkshire man.
This is interesting because you've got 2 boys, right?
I do.
I mean, it's a funny world right now. We're trying to get grown men who are not toxic and awful. But I mean, you've got a man in the house.
I have a great
around
man in
them.
the house who's a very good role model.
What do you
and
think
is a feminist
about-
and is very happy. I am a working mum and I always go on about it to them, like how much I enjoy my work and how important it is for me to work. They see that. It's quite equal at home.
Yeah.
Well, okay, to be brutally honest, I probably do more of the domestic work at home.
Yeah,
Picking up pants. I think I do. I think I'd
Really?
like to think that it was equal, but it's not for lack of, I don't know.
Do you know what? I think it's taken time for you both to adjust to how that works because you were both at
Sort of
different
domesticity
levels.
and
He's
and
6 years,
and it's
7 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I have to remember that he's, I'm a bit...
Still growing.
He's still growing. Yeah. And like, it's funny. That's the joke. He's like, look, I was able to, I booked a guy to come and fix the boiler and it's fixed. See? Growth.
I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah.
No, totally. And like the thing about being a mom that I've learned is that you have your ways of doing things, which are obviously right. He has his way of doing things, which are not your way. I'm not going to say they're wrong, but they're his
not
way.
your way.
So if you want him to do the shit, you have to relinquish control and let him do the shit.
His way.
Accept
And
the
there you go.
outcome.
Secrets to a happy marriage
Which
from Annie
means-
Mac. Thank you.
Which
Thank
means
you.
McDonald's for dinner.
Obviously, it's the musical love story of our time, Annie Mac and Toddly T.
Yeah.
All right. Did you meet interviewing him?
I met him for the first time at Fabric, I think.
Okay.
And then the flirtation started when he came in to Radio 1 and I interviewed him.
So
and
that
then
is on tape.
That is on tape.
Oh my gosh, so sweet. What a thing to have, though.
on
Early
tape.
flirtation with your husband on tape.
Yeah, it's mortifying. And then he had this thing called TTV, which was his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he interviewed me at Warehouse Project.
I remember.
And that was even, because that was on video and it was even more flirtation. That's nowhere to be found, thank
Thank
God.
God. What did Annie say about him when in the early days of meeting? Did she say, I like someone?
You knew
Yeah, I mean,
liked
I
him.
knew him anyway as well. It was just obvious they both liked each other, and it was just cute. And she deserved to be with somebody. I was excited for her because the thing is, when she was single, she's always ringing me every day, and I was getting all of her attention.
So had you been single for a minute?
No, not at all. I was going out with someone for 3 years, the end of my 20s, he was a radio producer at Radio 1. And then I split up with him when I was 30 and went out with some other guy, a very nice DJ guy, for a bit, on and off for a year. And then I was with T, so it was like bam, 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 straight.
Wow.
And with T, I was like, there's no way this is going to last. He actually was the one who was like, why are you being so fixated with age? I don't care. Why
Yeah,
should
he
you?
never cared.
Like, stop caring.
'Cause he's
And
the
I was
younger
like,
one, that's why.
yeah, but when I'm 40, you're going to be 33. So I couldn't stop projecting about what it would be like in the future.
Yeah,
Fear.
Also, it's the culture of it as well. Like, women aren't
Completely.
really supposed to date men who are younger.
It's
Like,
if it was the other way round,
a crock of shite.
if it was the other way round, no one would have thought about it. Neither would you, neither would he. Nobody would have thought about it.
7 years is actually
Very much.
not. I think that's most of my auntie and uncles that it's like 7 years, but because it's the man that's older, we don't even discuss it.
But yeah, so then we went on to have kids, and Reggie's the fairy godmother of the kids.
This is my favourite story ever. Annie's not religious, and so I was always hoping that somebody would let me be their godmother because I'm like desperate for kids and being around kids. And she never asked me, and I just thought that's a bit weird, but I'll stop hinting anyway. And I think I did actually ask you. Yeah, I just feel like
it's so hypocritical if I'm not religious. I felt it was kind of weird to do godparents.
Godparents are a whole thing.
Yeah. But then you should tell a story because you were there. I mean, they told you and not me the story.
Riley, my youngest, basically was like, is Reggie my fairy godmother? And I was like, yes, she is.
They'd gone to school or something, and I think they were talking about godparents, and they were like, do we have one or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. And then he was like, well, who's our godmother? And then Riley was like, I think Reju should be our godmother because she's our fairy godmother.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But to be called a fairy godmother,
also to be
so on point.
to be chosen by the child is the greatest honour. I've been chosen twice by 2 kids.
Oh, really?
That's so lovely.
And they called Mabel, now his youngest. Called me when she was 11, about 10 or 11, and her Nana and Cam had been flying a lot. And Mabel went, what happens when one of these planes goes down?
That's so Mabel.
And Nana went, I suppose you'd go to your godmother or godfather. And she said, and who's that? And she went, you haven't got one. And Mabel went, oh my God, like got really panicky. And I said, well, why don't you just choose one? So she called me and she said, will you be my godmother?
Oh my God, that is so...
And I just was like...
old as well, really,
and I was just like... and then Nana came on the phone, she went, you're crying. And then my newest goddaughter, who is amazing as well, who's another incredible singer actually, she had a godmother, but she hadn't seen her for like 12 years or something. She said to her dad, I need a new godmother because I don't even see that woman. And he said, do you think Andy would be my godmother? And he went, call her. So I went and I met her. We were just doing a thing. She said, I need to talk to you. And I thought, my God, what's happened? Something awful. And she was like, will you be my godmother? And again, I started crying.
I'm going to change my Instagram bio to appointments open. I need
Here's
to
my
people
number. Number 2 if you want me to be your godmother.
Family's really important to you, Reju.
Yeah, I think it always has been, and I think it's community, isn't it?
Yes.
Like it's the first people you love, it's the first people you learn from, it's the first people who really rip you apart and teach you about yourself. They're your first mirrors as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think I took that in my life, and that's how I try to treat everybody in my circle as family. So that's why I think when I moved to London as well, and me and Annie became friends, like it was straight away was like we're family. Like we'd never said it, but we just knew it.
You're a very familial energy though.
Yes.
I mean, literally, you started talking about Tupperware when you were 30 seconds in the door. This to me is a signifier. You know, there are signs with people. I'm like, I like you. Do you know what I mean? Just an energy.
And I think you're really naturally a nurturer. Like it's in you to do that. It's part of who you are. I feel like that family that you make is really interesting to me. We both arrived here together separately from different places, and it's kind of like you know that stuff is what makes you have to make a new home where you are. Like if this is going to be your home, what is home? Home is family. So you have to construct that out of what you've got.
And there's something really beautiful about the people you choose. And
because we have so many mutual friends, and they've been our friends for a very long time, and that's like sort of 15, 20 years now. Oh my God. And I was wondering if you had friendships that are even further back that are still in your life, like core old school primary school.
She does,
I do.
Really
I do.
right.
I've got 2 girls who I've known since I was 4.
Oh yeah.
Who I still see. That's really amazing because they know you inside out. They know everything about you. All of your family's dramas, everything.
Yeah, and they share your history.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now that you kind of were talking about like changing, I suppose, intent. I've been thinking about this a lot, haven't we? Not what are we doing next, why?
And how.
Yeah,
interesting. The why.
Let's do a podcast, but why?
Yeah.
And let's
it's so important.
do this.
What's the intention?
So
I wish I'd thought of that a lot earlier.
I just found Oprah earlier, I think.
God bless Oprah.
She just saved my life 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Oprah, by the way?
No.
Oh my God, imagine.
I went to Maya Angelou's house.
What?
I went to Maya Angelou's house and interviewed her, and then I said to her, do you know a really good restaurant? She invited us back for dinner that night.
No, she did.
We had dinner, me and my friend Nick had dinner, and we sat in her like summer house, and she told me stories about cicadas
my God,
beautiful
Andy.
things.
Yeah, I
it was the most extraordinary night of my life. I was just like that.
You should write that down.
She told me something that I will never forget. Every time she went to write a new book, she would have to check herself into a really, really shit motel.
Brilliant.
She said not a hotel, but a motel, and it had to be really bad, because if there was anything on the wall, even a vague thought about art, she would stand there looking at that instead of writing.
Right.
So she'd have to turn the fire instructions to the wall, and she was like the only way she could write. And every time she went to write a new book, she thought she was going to get found out to be a fraud. She was like, this is the time. You know, that voice, she had that incredible. I always thought this was the time they would discover that I was a fake. And I was like,
Angelo even.
if the good doctor even thought that, then we all can allow ourselves that fluctuation, that flurry of nerves and insecurity, and do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a lesson in endurance. It's like if you endure, if you have the intent and you know you're doing what you intend to do and you endure, then you will always, I think, succeed.
It's something we've really had to think about. Like, what is being more successful, and what is having more, and what does that really mean?
More of what?
And more of what, exactly. And I think it's completely changed the things we do. I think just after the Caribbean, it just changes when you make work that is felt. And it makes you never want to not do that again.
Exactly. Yeah. Everything must be meaningful.
Yes.
Or else what's the point?
This has been meaningful.
This really has been.
You are so...
That was sick, wasn't it? That was good, wasn't it? Wasn't that good?
From one broadcast to another. Ratings.
Seriously. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for bringing Reju so much.
I
love
so
it.
nice.
Thank you.
I had tears in my eyes when Reju said that to us about how important seeing us in both of our careers on screen, what it meant to her as a woman of colour.
It means a lot to have something said to you like that from women that you respect in the world that you've worked in, and they know how hard it is to make impact and to feel valued. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? If someone like Reju and Annie think I'm doing the right things, then I'm doing the right things.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that was two of my favourite hours I've ever spent with people. That was the most wonderful time. I'm a little bit more in love with both of them.
Yeah.
A little bit more in love with Annie, and I've fallen in love with Reju.
And then a little bit more in love with the idea of asking people we love to bring someone they love. I'm like, oh my God, now I know Reju. She's down the road.
Yeah.
She's a producer in my industry. She's a wonderful, kind, loving woman.
She's just gone to see her grandparents' bench, which is just up the road. It's like all these connections happen, unexpected kind of bridges to humanity and to each other that are so lovely, and it's like it literally warms the cockles of my heart.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Reju.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Reju.
Brightening up our world
Come
today.
back soon. Yeah.